All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to call this meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance by Police Chief Breezy. All right. If I could have a roll call.
Begonia, Jones, Lewis, Yanes.
Here. We have a quorum. Move to item 4, consideration of approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Councilmember Jones? Moved. Do I have a second? Councilmember Lambert?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. Let's move on to number 5, presentation proclamation recognizing National Poppy Day. Do I have Jerry Alves here? All right. Yeah, come on up. Am I going up? Hey, how are you? Sure. All right. So, I want a proclamation recognizing National Poppy Day, whereas the American Legion family, with the support of Congress, has designed May 29th, 2023 as National Poppy Day, and whereas America is the land of freedom preserved and protected willingly and freely by the citizen soldiers, and whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle, and whereas a nation of peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war, and whereas the red poppy has been designated as a symbol of sacrifice and lives in all wars, whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of this memorial flower. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and the city council members of the city of Los Banos do hereby recognize May 29th, 2023 as National Poppy Day, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on this day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
On behalf of the auxiliary unit, oh, I don't mean to, not really.
No? Okay. All right.
On
Yes.
behalf of our unit 166 in Los Banos, James B. Parnetti, I'd like to thank you very much. I'm the president of the group, and Jerry did all the legwork. So we thank you very much, and I hope you support our parking lot sale at May Day and the veterans we're having, and we'll be distributing poppies that day.
Outstanding. And we got to take a photo or else it didn't happen, right? Is that the-
This way?
Yep, yep. Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving along, let's move on to item 6, the public forum. Members of the public may address the city council members on any item of public interest that's within the jurisdiction of the city council. This includes agenda and non-agenda items. No action will be taken on non-agenda items. Speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation. Detailed guidelines are posted on the city council chamber information table in the back. This time I'd like members of the public to come forward and speak.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Ann McCauley, resident of Los Banos. Tonight, I would like to recognize our mayor, our council, and our city manager, and our fire chief. All of you on the council, or number of you on the council are new, as well as our fire chief. And I want to say that from what I've seen, you guys are doing a fabulous job. I know with you, Josh, as returning as a city manager, which I'm so pleased to see. You've got plenty to catch up on, but from what I hear, you're making good tracks. So keep it up, and I appreciate. And the article that I saw in today's paper, Mayor, is I'm really enlightened by it. I know you've got a lot. You're hitting the ground running, and I like the attitude that you have. We can plan ahead, but we want to make sure we've got money to do the things. And one of the things would be the dog or the animal shelter. If there's money available, I'd like to see up to another $1 million added to that program, because I know for the first $1 million, we might not get as much as we should have to at least get it going or get it the way we need to have it in the future. So that's my 2 cents there. But I think that I'm really pleased to see you back, Josh, and I know that with the council working like we are, like you are with a lot of different projects, you folks will make us all proud. The next item is something that warms my heart. The Merced County Volunteer Recognition Program has been around for some years. I've been a judge on it for the last, including this year, 9 years. And each district supervisor appoints one person to judge all of the individual and organization units that are nominated for volunteer recognition. And for District 5, there was one individual and 2 volunteer groups. One group was the Dos Palos Y Service Club, and the other was our VFW Post 2487 and American Legion Post 166, and they were treated as one group. Both of the organizations won first prize, and I'm so happy. I know the write-up for both organizations was fabulous, but not knowing anything about the Y Service Club at Dos Palos, it was very well written, and they are busy people. And knowing what the vets do here, I'm so pleased that they have won, because there's a lot of work that they do. The last 8 or 9 years with Mike Hughes as commander of the VFW and Alan Cotta as the commander of the American Legion, we have really got the best service organization to be proud of. They're so involved in the community. They do everything from veteran funerals. They've got 3 next week at the National Cemetery, so they're busy. There might be some weeks where they only have 1 or 2 or none, and there's other weeks when they may have more than 1 a day. So they really do well. And they also have the flag service program, or we've got the Veterans Parade coming up, and there's so many more things that they do. I'm just really pleased to see that they were nominated, and that all the judges across the 5 districts saw the value in these service clubs. There's a ceremony to recognize these winners on the 25th of April in the Merced County Administration Building at 6 o'clock. They're doing it at night this year to hopefully more people can attend. And I would really recommend that as many of you on the council that can attend, and also as many of our veterans can attend, that would be wonderful. We've got about 10 or 15 vets that really do the majority of the work. Whatever it takes, there's 10 to 15 of them always there. Others show up when they can, and but they all have really earned this honor. And then I'm hoping that I would like to recommend that at the next council meeting that we also do something to honor these groups too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
We're all fighting to get up here. I have a question I needed to ask on item number 9, but it doesn't show that there's a public forum. So do you want me to just ask it now?
Yeah, we're doing the public forum. Would just be now.
Oh, just now?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, I know Muni has been doing this for the city since 2013. And my question is it says that they recoup millions of dollars. How much did they recoup that was misappropriated in the city of Los Banos? And if they've done it yearly in the past, usually with the TOT tax, there's a form that's filled out. Do they go out and audit each hotel? These are the questions I have because it didn't have it in the packet for me to read. I don't know if my questions make sense. I want to make sure that this is something that we're paying for that brings in more money, that there is misappropriated funds that they have collected and brought to the city. I know that we pay 15% of what they collect that was misappropriated. I just want to know if that's a common thing and that it's constantly being misappropriated. That's my main questions on it. I tried to call earlier to have someone help me with it so I wouldn't have to come up and ask the question, but I didn't get a return phone call. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. How's everybody doing? I'm Patricia McCoy. I am the Los Banos Veterans Chairperson. I'm also a veteran as well. Just wanted to put out there that it's a little bit early, but save the date. Saturday, November 4th is our Veterans Parade. The theme this year is Air Force. I'm Air Force, so whoo. We have kicked off our one and only fundraiser that we do to pay for this parade. We are one of the few organizations that do not charge for an entry into the parade. We don't, and we are veterans that are putting on the Veterans Parade. So I did want to share that our fundraiser is called the Grocery Grab. We do have 4 prizes. The grand prize is a $500 gift card to Save Mart. Second place winner is a $250 gift certificate to Pearson's Jewelers. Third place is $250 gift certificate to España's. And fourth place is $200 gift card to Biggins Texas Barbecue. Tickets are $5 per ticket or 5 tickets for $20, so you're getting like a free ticket there. We have this on our website as well. You can contact myself or the commanders. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is that May Day Fair is coming up. And this will mark the 4th year that the veterans have opened up the parking lot as a fundraiser for, not the parade, but for the hall to help pay for the expenses for when we have the Veterans Hall open for our meetings, for the veteran service officers. As everybody knows, utilities have to get paid from somewhere. So we do have, the parking lot will be open $5 per vehicle, per spot, and it'll start Wednesday, May 3rd, is it 3rd? Yeah, the 3rd until Sunday the 7th from 3 in the afternoon until 11 p.m. So if you're looking for a place to park for the fair, please circle around a few times. We'll do the best to get you in. And then I have these. Can I give these to you? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Blanche George, downtown Elks. I wanted to go ahead and mention that the Elks Lodge is going to be participating on the May 5th stand down. Additionally, just so you can know, we've been doing a lot of things. We participated in the street fair. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce. We were able to contact 278 children, giving them appropriate drug awareness coloring books. So then that way we could speak to the youth and stand up for that. And once again, just a reminder that the Elks Lodge is always available to rent. We also rent by the hour. I want to make a joke, but I won't about that. But we do rent for businesses that want to utilize a place, even if they're not local, but they do business local, and they would like to thank their customers or meet their customers. The lodge is always available for that. We do have activities there, like we provide spaces for the hearing impaired. There is a group that comes in, cheerleaders, lots of athletic board of directors that meet there. We are having a Mother's Day event there. Please call the Chamber of Commerce or look us up on Facebook. I do want to take one split second out that the house that we mentioned 2 weeks ago that was for sale is pending and it's snapped up. But there is another home downtown that is available for sale. It was built in 1915, and it's one of the most historical homes that we have in Los Banos, and especially downtown. It's approximately 2 blocks west of us, and it's 411 J Street. So we would love to have a homeowner snap that up. Last of all, I'd like to speak about the Boys and Girls Club. We do have a set event date, if you could just save the date, and that's going to be September 23rd at 5 p.m. at the Grasslands Water District building, and it's what we call the Sip, Savor, and Chocolate. So it's more of a gathering than a sit-down meal that we're having in Merced. This is more a social and conversation type event. And we're looking for sponsors for that event. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Well, Mayor, City Council, staff members, I'm here to represent the Los Banos Chamber of Commerce once again, and wanted to go through some things that we have underway. You won't know it by looking at it, but we've spent a lot of time on construction that's going on, reconstruction, I should say, of the website. The website, once it's all in place, you're going to see that it's going to be truly the hub and convener of all things community within Los Banos, especially those that are chamber members. Yes, that was a plug for new membership. April was very busy, as you know, within the community, especially with the Easter holidays, etc. And we also had the Los Banos Rotary Crab Feed, as many of you know. And so the crab feed and a number of Easter egg hunts. Some were at the DES hall for some of the special needs community. We also seen some at the Park and Rec put on, etc. Even Planet Fitness, one of our newest chamber members, put on an egg hunt. We conducted a 15th anniversary celebration at Baby's Nutrition, and that was really well attended. There's tons of folks there, and it was a really successful event. And also Mission de Oro had their Easter egg hunt as well. This past Saturday we had our spring street fair. It was very well attended. I also got the opportunity to kind of go up and down some sidewalks and poke my head into some of the downtown merchants and have discussions with them, shared with them some of the things that on my phone I can show you, things that are going on with reconstructing the website that you can't necessarily see out there in public. So I showed them that kind of progress that was going on. And their primary benefit's going to be all their social media and their websites, etc., will be able to be accessed from the Chamber's website. So we truly think that that's going to really make it a real hub for the community here. Just a reminder, in a couple of days, one of our other members, Los Banos Arts Council, is putting on a concert at the Velasco Arts Center, 7:30 on Friday. And some of you might have better knowledge about this. Maybe the Mardi Gras Casino Night on Saturday the 29th, Los Banos Downtown Association will be putting that on. And that's all I have for this to go around.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Do we have a translator available? Do we have anyone who can? Yes? Okay, thank you. She's going to help you translate.
Ok, thank you. Es que necesito ver si me pueden quitar este ticket, porque esto, porque tengo ya muchos problemas. Tengo desde el 21, en diciembre, me está hostigando la ciudad. Y hasta ahora.
She has an issue. Yes, ¿qué es su nombre, señora?
Jesús González.
So she has an issue for she has an issue for the Los Banos Police Department to resolve. I'll say it that way. Okay. Okay. And so I'll pass the info to. You speak Spanish. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Señora González.
Sí, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, do we have any write-in comments? No write-in comments? All right. So at this time, I'm going to close the public forum. Let's move into item 7, consideration of approval of the consent agenda. Turn to our city clerk.
Items on the consent agenda are as follows. Warrant numbers 238187 through 238361, the amount of $2,184,153.04. Minutes for the March 15th, 2023 City Council meeting. Minutes for the April 5th, 2023 City Council meeting. City Council Resolution number 6623, amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget by increasing appropriations in the general fund maintenance line item 100-452-100-720 for expenditures in the amount of $12,500 for the purchase of a replacement air conditioning unit at the Miller and Lux building. City Council Resolution number 6624, approving the annual local transportation fund claim to be filed with the Merced County Association of Governments for fiscal year 2022-23. City Council Resolution number 6625, authorizing the city manager to execute a professional service agreement amendment with Mark Thomas for the Downtown Master Plan, Civic Master Plan. And the items are to be approved as submitted.
All right. Do I have anyone on the council that wants to have any discussion on any of the items? Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you. I'd like to pull item D for discussion, please.
What letter?
7D, yes.
7D. All right.
And I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 7D.
All right. I have a motion by Councilmember Lewis. Councilmember Lambert?
I'll second.
All right. All right, so we'll just discuss 7D first. Are we going to take a vote on it? All right, so we'll take a vote on it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now let's talk about items. We'll just skip
Okay.
down to 7D.
So my question is, did this go up for public bid?
All right, and this one is for, beat me to it.
Sorry, Mayor. No, this item does not, because we currently have an open contract with Young's Air for the maintenance of the units for our facility already. So this is just a continuation of that service.
Okay, so was it maintenance just for Miller Lux or for all of our buildings?
They are maintaining, I think, for all of our facility park-wise. Community centers and Ranchwood buildings, so all of our parks that has HVAC units are maintained by Young's Air.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to approve item 7D of the consent agenda.
All right, do I have a second? Councilmember Begonia?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Got to turn off some microphones here. All right, so let's move into item 8, public hearing. If you challenge a proposed action as described herein in the court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described herein, or those written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. So item 8A, public hearing to receive public comment and consideration of an annual adjustment to the Los Banos Development Impact Fee Schedule based on the Engineering News Record Construction Cost Index. For this, we'll go to Community Economic Development Director Suze Elms.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. So this item before you is an annual adjustment that we bring it to you yearly, and then as I will explain in the presentation, its importance. But this is a house maintenance issue or annual adjustment that we need to address and keep up with yearly. So background, the original development impact fee justification study was adopted in 2020. The development impact fees are established in conformance with the requirements of the Mitigation Fee Act, also known as AB 1600. A fee cannot include costs for existing deficiencies. So we cannot charge development for instance, an intersection that is already deficient or an already deficient infrastructure.
Stacy, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Is this only showing on our screens and not on the actual internet feed?
It should be broadcasted on YouTube as well.
Okay. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. Any of deficiencies, that is not what the development impact fees are for. But the fee can fund costs used to maintain the existing level of service or meet an adopted level of service that is consistent with our general plan. So background, the development impact fees do not pay for operation and maintenance of capital facilities or city staffing costs. And development impact fees are separated from the general fund and from other city budget funds or accounts containing fees collected for other purposes. So there's no commingling of fees. And those fees have to be used for the needs and the projects listed within the justification study. So an annual adjustment is required through resolution number 6163. It states that impact fees shall be modified annually each July 1st. And this is through an engineering news record. That's where we establish the construction cost index. And that's reported for the 12-month period ending in April of each year. So the adjustment for the engineering news record construction cost index ending in April 2023 was a 1.4% increase. You may recall last year's increase was 14.8%. That was the highest increase we had seen, I would say in 2 decades. Yeah, 20 years. Yeah, 2 decades. So that was really large. Typically, we see about 3 to 5% or so. 3 is normal. So 1.4% increase. That is just where it landed with the construction cost index for April. So this increase would be applied to all development impact fees and will go into effect July 1st, 2023. There are statutory requirements that require a certain period of time. So it's 60 days to happen prior to those fees going into effect. So that's why we try to do this in April or May as soon as possible, so that the development community has time to adjust and is aware that those new fees will be imposed on July 1st. This is the comparison chart. So it's to show you what our current fee is right now in 2022. Those are the 22 fees. And then what the adjustment, those are the proposed fees with the 1.4% increase. So for a single family dwelling, it'll be almost $33,000 in development impact fees for a new unit. And then you can see what, based on the different classifications of land use, what those fees would be. Now the fees, those classifications, those land use types that have an asterisk by them, those are by square footage, so it's not per unit, it's by square footage, and it's for every 1,000 square feet. So the environmental review, the adjustment is exempt per SEQA per section 15061B3, and that this is a financial study. The fiscal impact, this 1.4% increase would ensure new development is adequately funding its share of the costs of new public facilities as the cost to construct these projects increase over time. It's important that we continue to maintain these adjustments annually so that those costs are feasible, that the city is collecting the accurate fees, and that when it is time to build those capital facilities, we have the accurate funds to be able to build and plan for those facilities. This ensures the city does not subsidize new development's share of these facilities, and that adequate funding is available when the city is ready to construct those projects. So a public hearing notice was published in the Merced Sun-Star on April 7th. Local developers, including the BIA, the Building Industry Association, were directly mailed public notices on April 5th, and no formal comments have been received. So staff is recommending that the mayor would open the public hearing to receive any public comments regarding the proposed impact fee adjustment, find the proposed impact fee adjustment exempt per CEQA guidelines, and adopt resolution number 6626 approving a 1.4% increase to development impact fees to reflect the construction cost changes in 2023, and then for this to become effective on July 1st. And that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you. So at this time, let's open the public hearing. Have anyone from the public wants to come forward and speak on this matter? Nope. All right. Do I have any write-in comments for this? No, no comments. Okay. All right. So at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing, and let's move into the. Can I get a motion to adopt the resolution as submitted? Councilmember Lambert.
Motion to adopt resolution number 6626 as read.
Thank you. Councilmember Jones.
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. So let's move on to item 9, consideration of authorizing the examination of sales or transaction and use tax records. For this, we'll go to Interim Finance Director Kuhn.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So this is a brand new contract. We had contract extensions with Muni Services for certain sales tax work. This is a brand new service on the TOT side that they are providing in this contract. So the identification of the things that they are doing is actually in the agenda. It's under Exhibit A, under Statement of Work, and it breaks it out by their sales tax transactional work and recovery services, and then also their reporting services, and then the TOT audit. So I'll address the recovery service first. So let's be clear. They're not looking at misappropriations. It's errors that may have been submitted to formerly what was the BOE. It's now a larger acronym, but it's basically the agency, the state agency that collects and remits taxes, sales taxes and use taxes and transactional taxes, and they receive their reports from retail individuals, corporations, and they have a software that they utilize to determine if there has been any possible errors that have been submitted to this agency. And if that is the case, there is then a letter that is sent out to these individuals, and then they seek out to see how much that there was produced in error. So they produce a report to us, and it's called an account status report. Most of the reports that we've received quarterly is the reports that is used for. We use it for forecasting and for identifying our major sales tax remitters and also looking at locations so it allows planning to create zones of additional people and sales tax remitters in areas, and then also it identifies the new laws, if there's any new laws that impact out of state corporations that are operating within the city. So they actually give us a pretty comprehensive report quarterly that we use, and within that it identifies potentially what errors there are, but it usually takes a little bit longer if there are any follow-up for the purpose of capturing and remitting back to us any errors that may have happened. And that's where that 15% contingency comes. Most of the amounts that are stated in here are for the purpose of to help us forecast and to better develop our retail base, in essence, increase general sales tax. On the TOT side, this is a new thing, and usually a city has an internal audit function, and within that audit function, they send out staff to go and to these places. They send letters and they acquire their documentation that they send to us, and they look at their records on a sample basis and determine whether or not they're remitting all the TOT that they're supposed to. Unfortunately, the finance staff isn't large enough to go out and perform these types of audits. Up to this point, we just look at the reports that they have submitted and do a kind of a spot check to see in terms of the exemptions that they have, or if someone has stayed longer than the 30-day requirement that then makes them exempt of these TOT taxes 10%. So in order to kind of bring, I guess, not just make this an honor system, but just let our providers know that we're going in a rotational basis, that we're going to come to their place, look at their records, and maybe just keep everybody honest, so to speak, in terms of what they're remitting. Not to say that there's any dishonesty here. Let's be clear. This is just looking at to make sure that there hasn't been any errors based upon their records. So this is a very common practice for cities to utilize consultants for this purpose, and Muni Services is one of the best, in my opinion, for doing this type of service. This will take place, the TOT side of it will take place in two phases. First, they'll come here and they'll analyze all of our hotel providers and determine how a plan of how they're going to go out and inspect records. Then the next is the audit and compliance side of that, where a letter is sent out to the hotel operators saying that these are the records that we require. And this is all within the ordinance that we have that right to look at these things. So this is the reason why we added on this function, because this has not been done. I don't know if it's been done ever, but I think now is a good time, especially as we're trying to attract more hotels and other operators to come into the city. And so everybody just knows that there's a process, that there will be some form of audit, external audit inspection of their records that they submit to the city. The pricing is extremely competitive. I reached out to a couple of other consulting firms, and they were all right around the same cost. In some cases, it was they were more expensive. So I think this is a great time to do this. On the sales tax side, we utilize these reports to forecast. In fact, the upcoming budget has a lot of this information that's baked into what we're determining for both our general sales tax and our measure sales taxes, which is super important to be able to allocate our resources to those revenues. I guess I'm hoping I'm comprehensive enough in terms of the scope of work and the importance of this. If there's anything I can do to clear up any misconceptions or add to any of this, I'm happy to do so.
All right, thank you. Questions from council? Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you. So I just need some, well, quite a bit of clarification on this. The state, monies are collected for a sales tax. It goes, I don't know if it goes to the county and then to the state. However that happens, it's not important. The state gets the money, and then we get our portion back. Are you saying that the state of California provides some sort of documentation to us based on their computer systems that there may have been some error or lack of appropriate reporting by TOTs?
Yes, not TOT. TOT is
Well,
transient occupancy tax. Sales. So one of the reasons why we have the resolution attached to this is this information is confidential. So we are allowing Muni Services to be able to go and look at the confidential responses between this agency that's collecting this tax and to look at if they are allowed by this agency to look at the returns that are submitted to them. So it's quite a lot of data. So what a lot of this is what they do is they interface with the department in the state, and they download all of this data. So a lot of this data is kind of mined to see if there's any functional discrepancies, and then they go and look at whether or not there were any actual errors that were done in that process. So that they do this with over 500 cities across the United States.
I understand that. I think where I'm trying to get to is why all of a sudden we have a concern about the TOT tax that we're collecting.
Okay, so
when you said
so
in the
TOT is different than sales tax.
I didn't say sales tax. I said TOT.
Okay, so the TOT, we're talking about something else then.
Okay, so all of a sudden the sales tax thing, I can kind of understand that a little bit because people, companies may, inadvertently, not purposely, or may purposely, I don't know, report taxes that they actually made but didn't send to the state, and the state is picking up through their computer system that based on what might be happening economically in our state, say COVID and businesses were shut down, not selling as much, or whatever the case may be, the tax percentage may change. So I guess through their computer system, there must be something that will trigger them based on a bunch of factors as to why, and I'll just use Los Banos. Companies in Los Banos are not sending the proper tax to the state.
Potentially, and that's the reason why that's done on a contingency.
Right.
Yeah.
So that part I'm not questioning so much. I'm concerned about the TOT. As do we have anything that would cause us to all of a sudden now look at our lodging services in Los Banos and pay these exorbitant fees to filter out something that we don't have evidence of?
So exorbitant, you mean in terms of
what they're
$800 and
in the
$1,000
contract.
per property?
Yes, and it could go up to I just say we have 10 hotels in Los Banos. They suggest that we do 33% of those, which is a third, and that would be roughly about 3 units. And there's various prices that they charge when they go in and start the evaluation.
So it's actually the analyzation phase is $800 per property, and then if we determine that we want to audit those properties because we control that, it'll be $1,000. The industry is about $2,500 to go and do this in total. So because they already do the sales tax side of stuff, they're able to do this for what it's stated here. Now
it's $1,000 for the first 90 days, and it could go up to $1,200 according to the contract. That's what I read in there.
Sure.
If we don't submit that information within 90 days. However, I'm still concerned as to why this portion is in the contract. Why are we?
We added this because the only thing that we've seen up to this point is the reports provided by the hotel providers. So they're the ones who are saying whether or not they have these exemptions or whether or not they have any of this stuff. So as a course of being complete and ensuring that, the providers, the hotel providers are paying their fair share of TOT, which is a general tax which finances general operations of the city, it made sense to go and make sure that we are lining up what they're saying to us in their reports with their records. This is a common practice within pretty much 80 to 90% of cities within the state. So the point in all of this is that if there are inaccuracies, that one, those can be cleared up as a communication between the city and the provider. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be punitive, but it allows the city proper management over this 10% tax. So at this point, we're basically operating under an honor system that the hotel provider is going to give us all of the information accurately. This is just an external review of these financial documents that are held at the provider, at the hotel, and determining over that each month that they are supposed to be sending us 10% of the people who are staying there, and that they are reporting that correctly. So, and within we received close to $500,000 of transient occupancy tax, I believe, annually. So we decided that this was significant enough to. Pardon me?
What was that amount?
Close to 500,000.
Okay.
So we felt it might even actually be more. I should look at the budget. I apologize for that, but it's a substantial amount. So we wanted to ensure that that all of the reports that are being submitted to the city have some external review. Just like we have an external review over our financial statements that we do for external parties, it's the same kind of relation that we would like with the hotel providers. It's put in a lot of contracts.
Okay, I also noticed in the written portion of the contract that this agency would be charging us up to $2,500 per visit.
That's
online.
for travel costs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the initial phase is going to weed out what exactly we're going to do. So we have the authority to give to them which providers we would like them to go see. So I'm assuming that having Muni Services come in for a week to go through all of this, that the overall travel costs for the whole project would not exceed $2,500.
Okay, so if I can complete my thought on that, I did go online and I saw that Redwood City had a contract with them, but there is I believe a local office in Fresno. On Palm Avenue, is that where they're going to be coming from, Fresno, here to do audits for us?
Yeah, I'm assuming that they would. It's
so
going.
We don't know which office they're going to be coming from.
No, but we haven't.
Hang on, stand by. I don't think any of that is.
Yeah, because we haven't even gone through the initial phase of looking at this. It hasn't even been approved.
That will have an effect on how much we're going to be paying per visit, and
right.
that I mean, we don't have any calculated amount as to how much per visit it's going to cost us, depending on where they come and how often they come.
Well, we have to have a contract first in order to ask them these things.
Well, I thought that's what we were approving tonight.
Well, that's what we're doing now. So in terms of identifying their staffing, if we have a contract with them, then we can then ask them where they're going to be staffing and how that is going to be performed. Again, we have the ability to control this. They're not just coming in and controlling the narrative. We are the controlling body here, where they're going to be acting on our behalf.
I think the confusion, though, to Councilmember Lewis's point, though, is that this is not to approve a contract with a vendor. This is to authorize the examination of the sales and tax records. So the method and the scope is
Are we going
not.
to bring back a contract to the council for approval?
No, this is the contract
That's
for
what I thought.
these services.
Right.
But they put caps in these things in order to, make sure that our exposure for cost isn't exorbitant.
Well, that may be the case, but what I read in the contract only gives us dollar amounts per whatever thing that they're going to do.
Correct.
1,000 for this or 2,500 for that. And so, and then in here, there's like an hourly wage for their legal services on a schedule basis. So to me, it's still kind of open-ended. You're asking at least me to approve a contract where I really don't know.
So the amounts that they are, what they're doing is giving you full disclosures of their rates. What they are saying is that in order to analyze the reports that we have per property, they will come in for $800 regardless of their billing rates and analyze those amounts. They put those rates in there in case there's additional things that we will request, but that's not part of this contract. The travel for the whole project scheduled is not to exceed $2,500 for costs for their costs, for their travel costs.
Yeah, per visit, the contract says.
Per visit I believe it's not per visit to each individual. Again, it's a not to exceed. So if they come in and they say they're going to take 3 hours to do a spot audit at a location, we're not going to allow them to charge us $2,500 in travel costs for that purpose.
So
there may be, as you say, a Fresno office where they drive from Fresno to here. There's a mileage based probably on IRS rules, and they will charge us those costs in order to facilitate whoever's coming out, so it's not out of their pocket to go to a site. So they're not saying they're going to charge us $2,500 per site. This is a not to exceed amount.
I understand that. You're not, I'm not a financial guru, but I'm not completely ignorant either. I understand that. And I understand that this contract says that for the transit occupancy tax services, the consultant, which would be the agency we're hiring, will also charge the client, which is us, out-of-pocket expenses for travel costs related to the performance of the audit. Travel costs will not exceed $2,500 per visit. Now, there's some basic costs in here. I would hope that with you wanting us to approve this contract tonight, that we would have some sort of general idea of what it's going to cost us, because I've got different figures here at a minimum of $18,000, and that doesn't include
$18,000?
Well, there's $3,000 annually that they're going to charge us for this contract. And then I just kind of assumed, this is just an assumption that we may have 10 hotels here in town. It may be less. That's $800 per hotel. That's $8,000. And then $1,000 for the audit compliance. That's a lot of money right there, plus the mileage, plus, all the other things that they will probably charge us. So, I guess I would have just liked to seen something that we're looking at between here and here. Usually when we have a contract that we're going to approve, it will cost us somewhere between $500 or $1,000, depending on the total services that the city is looking to garner from a company that we're hiring. But all I'm hearing is that it can cost us this, it can cost us that. But it's, these are fixed costs.
Right.
But you haven't told us how many hotels we're looking at. We don't know anything in that regard. We're just going to sit here and approve a contract tonight.
Well, I think we know we don't have 20.
No, it's my,
20
I still have the floor. Thank you.
No, we're not going to do that. Your question's
still have the
been asked
floor.
and answered. So,
I still have the floor, and I have the right to ask questions
And-
as a council member.
and I'm not going to let this meeting go on for
I
hours and
have
hours
the
on the
right,
same
Miss.
thing.
I'm going to refer to our city attorney. Mr. Vaughn, do I have the right to ask questions?
Yes, but the chair has the right to call to order the meeting, and he has the right to dictate how we're going to do in terms of the talk. So you do have a right to ask questions. He has a right to run the meeting.
And I think Councilmember Lewis, you do have, your questions are valid that you're asking. What I think though is I think we're to a point where you've made your point and staff is not going to give you any final range or dollar amount that's different than the contract and what's been submitted in the
Well, I'll
packet.
say this. This is a new contract. I think we should have had more specifics other than just the dollar amounts that we're going to charge based on how many hotels we have here in town to give the public whose taxpayer dollars are being spent to take care of this issue. So it looks like I'm being cut off here. And I will say in closing that I do believe that this should have been an agendized item that was a public hearing because it is a new contract and it gives the public an opportunity to speak their concerns about how their tax dollars are being spent. So I still feel like my questions haven't been answered and complete, but I'll submit back to the chair.
All right, thank you. All right. Any other questions from council members? No? All right. So do we vote motion individually? Yes. On these? Okay. So we'll start with 9A. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution as submitted? Councilmember Jones.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve City Council Resolution number 6627 as submitted.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Begonia.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right. We'll move on to item 9B, City Council Resolution number 6628, accepting and approving a consultant service agreement between the City of Las Vegas and Muni Services LLC. Do I have a motion, Councilmember Lambert?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 6628 as read.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Begonia?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. Moving on to item 10, ordinance number 1202, repealing in part and amending section 2-3.126 of Article 1, Chapter 3 to Title 2 of the Las Vegas Municipal Code relating to city manager. And for this, we'll go to City Attorney Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, audience. This is the second reading and consideration of adoption of Ordinance 1202. It was brought before the City Council at the last meeting. The last meeting, the staff report was prepared and presented to the City Council. City Council introduced the ordinance, waived the first reading and introduced the ordinance. In short, the ordinance is designed to resolve a conflict between the current city manager employment agreement and the municipal code. If this ordinance is adopted, it will defer to the terms of the employment agreement and resolve the conflict between the current municipal code and that agreement. I'm here to answer any questions.
All right. Do we have any questions? No, no questions? All right. Do I have a, Councilmember Jones? Did you have some questions?
Motion.
Oh, all right. Make motion by Jones. Do I have a second?
Actually, yeah. Sorry, it threw me off there. I thought you were coming back to me to make for a question, not a motion. But yeah, I'd like to make a motion to waive the second reading of ordinance number 1202.
All right. Councilmember Lambert?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Okay. Motion passes. And can I get a motion to adopt it? Councilmember Lambert.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion to adopt ordinance number 1202 as read.
Councilmember Jones.
I'll second that.
And if I get a roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Motion passes. All right. Moving on to item 11, advisement of public notices. And I believe we have one report.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Mayor and City Council. We have a mobile food vendor permit. This is for Tacos El Jefe. The public hearing will be held on Wednesday, April 26th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you. Move into item 12, city manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Want to let everybody know that this Saturday at Fire Station number 1 at 10 o'clock until 1 p.m. we have an autism meet and greet event over there. It's going to be a low stress event, no lights, no sirens, so everybody feels comfortable, low sensory experience. So the fire department has been working very hard. Chief, thank you for all the hard work on getting that put together. We'll have a bunch of different vehicles there. I think we're even going to have some public work vehicles there, police vehicles there, and I think we're going to have a helicopter, right? Is that correct? So I want to just let everybody know, feel free to head on over there this Saturday. It starts at 10 o'clock at Fire Station number 1, 333 7th Street. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll go to item 13, report update, Merced County Association of Governments, Peninsula Clean Energy, Measure V Committee, and San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, and Los Banos Downtown Property and Business Improvement District. And we'll start with Councilmember Lewis. Do you have anything for San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution? Nothing to report. Okay. So here's my report for MCAG. Something pretty exciting coming up is we have the One Voice program. It'll be happening May 9th through the 12th. Myself and our city manager will be traveling to Washington, D.C. To voice for our jurisdiction in hopes to gain more funding for our city. And so we're looking at 3 individual projects that we want to seek additional funding for from the federal government. And so we're looking at things like possible relocation of our airport. I know our airport, when it was built, was probably on the far west end of town, and now it's in the middle, which happens with growth. So we're looking at trying to relocate the airport to best suit our community and take advantage of that land in the middle of our town. And then also the Pioneer Widening Project, we're also looking for funding for that. And then Fire Station 3 to serve as another fire station on the east side of town and serve as a secondary, or actually be the first emergency operations center on the west side of Merced County. And so that's going to be our goals when we go to Washington, D.C. That's all I have on MCG. Do we have anything for Downtown Association? Nothing. All right. All right. Peninsula Clean Energy. I did attend this last meeting as your representative. I did hear that there is a surplus of funds from Peninsula Clean Energy. So however they did the billing or the charges, that they were in the black, which is a good thing. And so I'm going to be talking with them at hopefully the next board meeting and talking about how we can get those funds back to our citizens. That's my primary focus there. If there is any available funds, if we did overpay for our utility service, that it gets back into the people who need it. So, and that's all I have for that. Item 14, City Council Member Report. Councilmember Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one report I want to just let the chamber know that I walked the street during the street fair, even during my busy time of the day. And actually, I was kind of excited to see how many people showed up for our street fair. So good job on the Spring Street Fair this time. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Go to Councilmember Begonia.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Jones.
No report, Mayor.
Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you. I don't want to sound like a sour lemon tonight, but I just recently found out that I have been replaced as the alternative member on the MCAG committee. Usually, it's been standard practice here in the city of Los Banos that any council appointments, commissions, or community committee appointments are agendized and the council votes on it. But I understand there's been a new replacement for me, and this did not come as a vote to the council. I'm hoping that this is something that the mayor didn't approve of. And, as a side note to that, I have not been getting any information about what's going on in the city. So, Mayor, I hope that you're working with our city manager, because I am a member of council and I should know what's happening here. I've not received a phone call, no emails. I don't even know how to contact him. I know you all do, other than his city phone number. So I feel like I'm entitled to that information as well. So I will seek your help on that to make sure that I'm informed on what's happening in the city so that I can help my constituents for the time that I have on council. Thank you for your time.
All right. I reach out to our city manager. I don't know what the rest of the council members do. I reach out to him on a regular basis by his phone and or email. I don't have any other policy or way to do it. That's just how I, again, get a hold of him and gain information. I do know that, with past practices, there's a lot of questions that maybe are asked up here of staff, by the council. And so maybe, I don't know, people are just assuming that all your questions are going to be asked in this environment rather than during regular work days. I don't know. I can't speak for that, but I call and email him, and I have communication back and forth. So I would encourage you to do the same. And if you don't have any contact, then yeah, please communicate with me.
The appointment for MCAG, the alternate?
I'll be honest. I don't know how that, what the process was for that. I don't.
So you didn't know that there was another appointment?
For MCAG?
Yeah,
I don't know who
alternate.
I'll be honest, I don't know who my alternate is. Oh, it's our mayor pro tem. Okay.
Well, the only reason I asked, because I have been the alternate for the past 7 years, the alternate has always been appointed on the dais. So now there's a new process where alternates are not appointed on the dais. So that's the question I have.
I don't know. This is my first run as mayor, so I couldn't tell you. I only know what I know. So however the process worked, if there's any previous policies or processes, I can only speak of my time of what I do. So
Mr. Vaughn, could you address that, please?
Well, first of all, we need to keep this conversation short because it is not an agenda item, but I think the past practice has been that the mayor makes a nomination, and that nomination is confirmed by the entire council.
all right. And I guess I'll go last. So first things first, I want to talk about donating my salary. So I didn't report in February that I did donate my check to a little small business ran by a young man named Bentley and Papa's Hot Dogs. So I just want to, what a great or little company, and he's a great kid. So I just want to throw that out there. For March, I'll be donating my check to Los Banos Little League. So they'll get a little bit of money, and hopefully they can do something with it. Also, just to speak on just, again, how I operate and how I do business, if anyone has any questions for me at any time, whoever that may be, I'm completely an open door. I try to make myself available every Friday that I can in person. I do know that's not feasible for everybody. So I'm also available on social media, and I know that people have reached out to me on Facebook and recently on the Nextdoor app. So again, I want to have a complete open door policy to anybody in the public who wants to talk about anything, talk about issues. The only thing I ask is, again, I don't want to sit and just listen to people complain. I want to talk about solutions. So if we're not going to have a productive conversation to make it better, then I'll be honest with you, it might be a short conversation, because that's my focus on. I look at our community that, you know, we as a council can sit up here and do a couple things. We can sit here and complain and, you know, compound the issues, or we can strategize and collaborate and find ways to take the issue head on. And I think that's the only way that things are going to get better. I love this great quote, you know, if you want to change the world, start on your street, right? Start in your neighborhood and start in your city. And so that's, again, the focal point for me is what I want to do. So with that being said, that's pretty much all I got. So I'll ask a motion for an adjournment. Councilmember Jones?
So moved.
Councilmember Lambert?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. It is 7:10. Meeting's adjourned.